What's up, family? It's been a minute. I went on vacation. I was on vacation all this week. Much needed time to get away with the family and spend some time, and got to let the kids do some cool things. It was a good experience. So I kind of stayed away from everything and didn't get to create any content. The week previous I was working so much, just trying to prepare for the upcoming vacation, make sure I wasn't leaving anything undone. So but I'm back, and so I finished up one semester this last week, started a new one the beginning of this week. All new courses. I think I'm doing a computer course, English, and math. So it should be fun. It's been a while since I dealt with anything that had to do with formal mathematics and English. The computer course is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a positive experience as far as being able to create Excel sheets and navigate through business documents and things like that. So it'll be cool, it'll be interesting, and I'll keep you guys updated. One of my last papers, I think I mentioned before that I was gonna reach out and give a little bit of information on what I wrote. So one of my research papers was on conflict, which is kind of fitting considering the current climate of our country. Now, the paper itself was geared towards conflict in the workplace, but that said, as I said, there's so much going on right now, so much with the police, all the protesting, the rioting, and just a lot of violence, and so I've been somewhat silent. I've spoke a little bit about some of the things that are going on, but I've just been real careful, maybe too careful in how I say things, and it's because to be quite honest, it's so volatile right now, and if you disagree with someone, you're called names, and often one of the big ones is you're a racist if you don't agree with Black Lives Matter, for example, or you're a snowflake, liberal if you don't agree with conservative views and values. And so I feel like I'm pretty close to middle, as close as you can get, really. I do have some pretty conservative views and values, and that's kind of taken shape, as being a father and having children, and I think wanting to instill some good values that will give them a bright future. So that said, Black Lives Matter, and I can get behind that 100%. Obviously, the fact that we have to say that, or that it's something that is happening right now, is unfortunate. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are hurting, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on that have created this, that where people feel like they need to say Black Lives Matter. To me, it's obviously a given. I think everybody matters, and I understand the idea behind the mantra or that statement that Black Lives Matter, and I support it. The one thing that I'm having trouble with, obviously, is the organization itself, because of things that I've seen, and I know it's not all chapters or all groups of Black Lives Matter, but when you have a leader of a group saying that it's okay to riot and loot and destroy businesses, some of them black-owned businesses, because insurance will pay for it, and it's a form of reparation, I think it's disgusting, and I think that's a serious issue. That's a people issue. There's something going on there, and I can't really say exactly, not for fear of anything. I have a hard time even wrapping my head around that ideology. And the whole political landscape right now, and if you're a Trump supporter, you're a racist. And when you have a large black conservative movement that support Trump and other minorities, I have to ask the question, are they confused, or are they actually woke? I'm not saying that I'm going to be the biggest advocate for Trump or any political figure. I try not to put too much time into that and too much thought into it, because it's just a circus for the most part. But I just have a hard time with people being so ugly and nasty towards people because you have a different perspective. And like at the RNC, and I haven't followed, I don't watch those things, I just see clips here and there. But when you have someone like Herschel Walker that gets up and speaks on Trump's behalf, I know that he's called names, and I know that he's probably ridiculed by the black community because he's expected to think a certain way and vote a certain way. And I think that's dangerous. I think it's irresponsible, and I think it's nasty that people will go against other people that look like them because they think differently. And even if you don't look like them, because they think differently, you're gonna call them names, and you're gonna ridicule them, and create more division. I don't think that's the direction we need to head. I don't think that painting someone a racist because they support a certain political group is helpful, especially when the Democratic Party was the party that founded the KKK. But they're going to be the saviors, and that's not to say that I'm against Democrats. I mean, there's a lot of policy. There's things that the Democrats say and support that I can get behind, as well as Republicans. The problem is that we're in a situation right now where the political landscape is so polarized, and if you're just labeled one way or the other, and it's not good. I would say that I'm probably independent, if I would even label myself as anything, because I see things on both sides, and I have some value and see some value in both sides. Now, the people that are the leaders of these groups, I question some of their motives, and I would have to say have a hard time, understanding how some people can get behind some of the people on both sides, specifically the presidential candidates and VP picks and things like that. And when you we're trying to get away from discrimination and giving people certain jobs or benefits because of the color of their skin, I'm completely against that. I don't think that white people should have any advantage over anybody. I don't think that black people should have an advantage over anybody because of the color of their skin. I think that we're all equal, and that's my perspective. But when I see someone say that their vice president will be a woman of color, I have to ask my question what the motive is there. Because last I checked, if you did that in the workplace, I mean, you'd have a lawsuit on your hands. And I have nothing against women of color. And if you know me, you know that. So, and I would have no problem with them being in a public office or in, you know, a position of power. That's not the issue here. It's the fact that that was the reason why they're there. So, yeah, it's just pretty crazy to me that this is becoming acceptable. And I think people need to wake up to it. I think that people need to be promoted and given positions based on their merit and their character. And, you know, I don't know. We'll see how things unfold. And you know what? I'm not going to be up in arms about anything. I mean, because in another 4 years, it's going to be another argument, another change. And, you know, people will be calling their friends names because they don't think the way that they do. And it's pretty crazy. It's why for such a long time I didn't even pay attention to politics. Because it's I don't know, trips me out. Take best friends and turn them against each other for people that they have no tie to. And yeah. And you know, I wanted to address the Jacob Blake incident. I've been seeing so much on that, and the fact that it created such an uprise in a matter of minutes. You know, and this is the dangerous thing about social media. And I'll be honest with you, when I saw the video myself, it looked bad. I mean, it did. But I still didn't pass any judgment. I said, okay, well, let's see what the situation is here and what really happened. But the problem is with the majority of people and the current climate is that it's immediately about race, and that's not. I'm not going to buy that. I'll never buy that on any situation, unless it's just outward, blatant. And you do see those in questionable things like Arbery. That it has to make you think what the motive was there, and it's pretty obvious that in that situation it's hard to say that race wasn't an issue. But when you have a situation like Jacob Blake, the second video that finally came out after all of the destruction, of course, is he was fighting with the cops, and then the report comes out that the cops were called there because he wasn't supposed to be there, and he had his girlfriend's keys and wouldn't give them back. So they show up, find out that he has a warrant for felony rape charge on a 14-year-old girl. So they go to place him under arrest, and surprise, he resists. And I say that because he's resisted arrest on multiple occasions. He's assaulted police officers, multiple domestic violence charges, and so he fights with the cops and gets tased, gets free, goes back to his car, allegedly says that he has a knife. They find a knife on the floor of his vehicle. You know, I don't know, maybe he was going back to his car to get his registration and insurance. I mean, you know, who knows? I can speculate on what I believe, and you know, I think that if you look at things objectively, I think that you might be able to draw a conclusion yourself that is outside of a racial issue. You know, sometimes bad people do bad things and the cops have to deal with it. Sometimes good people get hurt by the cops for no reason, and those things need to be dealt with too. But I think we need to be careful not to jump on the bandwagon, and every time something happens, we turn it into something that it's not. That said, we need to hold each other accountable. We need to ask questions. We need to question incidents and situations where cops have to use force. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There needs to be oversight. There needs to be better training among law enforcement. I think most law enforcement will say that. I've done a lot of training myself, and I know that budgets and things like that don't allow for extra training. And so the idea that to defund the police, I think, is not logical. If we want to just get rid of all the emotion and try to look at things and look for a solution, better training obviously is something that needs to be talked about. And I think people need to also bring their children up to have a healthy respect for law enforcement and other people that have been given a position of authority. That's not to say that we have to bow down to anybody, but we need to hold ourselves accountable too. If we're screwing up and we get snatched up by the cops, you need to take it and deal with it, and not make the cops out to be the bad guy when you're the one that's doing wrong. So I think I've ranted long enough. Yeah, love you guys. I probably didn't make any friends with this post. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that either. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that look like that think like I do, and they're just afraid to say it, and for fear of backlash and things like that. But I felt that I needed to. I didn't want to take to social media and get caught up in the whole back and forth. I've already, commented on a few things, and it's just like, it's hard to have an honest conversation, a reasonable conversation on there. So I figured I'd put this out there and just encourage people to just think for yourselves. Don't get caught up in everything that happens, and just think for yourself. Be a free thinker. Don't be afraid to go against the grain of any organization that you're a part of, that you're affiliated with. If they're acting a fool, or they're going way off in the left field, and there's no logical reason or motivation behind what they're doing, then you need to speak up. Don't just blindly follow. And that's for anything, whether it's any conservative groups, democratic groups. Don't be afraid to question things and hold people accountable. We need to get away from this idea that if you're a part of a group, you have to follow everything. It's that whole group think deal, and it's dangerous. And I've spoke on that, and I've seen so much of it, and people they're just lemmings. They jump on it, and no matter what is said, they repost everything, and they get behind everything, even if it's not based in anything fact or anything that's gonna produce any real change or bring people together. We need to bring people together right now. We need to lift each other up. We need to love on each other. We need to put God first, and that's where I'll leave this video with that. We need to put God first in all that we do. If we can get that incorporated into our lives, then we wouldn't be seeing a lot of this. You know, the values and the principles that are in the Word are encouraging, they're uplifting, and they bring unity, not division. And so I'll leave with that. I love you guys. God bless. Have a beautiful day. Stay safe. Have a beautiful weekend. Give your family some love. Have a good day.